2012 also gave us the beginning of Telltale's The Walking Dead series. I think all of season 1
was
released in 2012.
Yeah, and that was the that was one of the many tendrils of the Walking Dead empire, along with Kirkman's comic and the TV show. Tendrils. Zombies have tentacles. I don't know if you knew that.
Tentacle zombie.
Yeah, that's a real thing.
Yeah.
Octopi zombie.
Yeah, octopi zombie. But no, it's the game that sort of paved the way for modern Telltale. Telltale had been stumbling with the Jurassic Park series, especially.
I didn't realize they started in 2004.
Yeah.
Former LucasArts folks getting back together to make more traditional adventure games. Basically.
Yeah.
And they put out a lot of stuff over the years. Some of it hit, some of it didn't. Some of them had been legitimate hits, like Back to the Future, even though it wasn't particularly well received with critics. It sold well.
And they were able to get Christopher Lloyd. And
I enjoyed Monkey Island.
Monkey Island was good.
Not as good as the classics, but it was still good.
Strong Bad's Cool Game for Attractive People was awesome.
Totally,
but not a big hit.
Yeah.
None of them had hit like Walking Dead hit.
Yeah, and it was, it's the game that like reinvigorated the adventure genre. And we see a lot of stuff now with like Broken Age and a lot of Kickstarter adventure games. But this is the game that, right from the get-go in the first episode, smartly didn't try to adapt the comic book or the TV series. Yeah. Like there's a little bit of, there's certain characters who enter and exit and you're like, oh, that's Glenn. And you see Glenn for 30 minutes in the game. But by creating new characters in Lee and Clementine especially, and the bond that they form throughout the 5 episodes culminates in probably one of the most emotional moments in video game history.
A lot of people I see name this game still as their sort of favorite facet of The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
I mean, even when they were announcing Fear the Walking Dead, so many people said, oh, well, it should either be that game or something like that game. It made such an imprint, which is really impressive when you consider how huge Walking Dead has become and how many there's books and comics and multiple TV series.
Yeah, I can't really think of another property that has hit on such a successful level on all multiple platforms as The Walking Dead. The fact that the TV shows, the comic, and the game are so critically and commercially successful is amazing.
There have been bad games.
There have been some real awful Walking Dead games.
Dead the game.
Yeah.
Poor numberitis.
Yeah. So not only did Telltale create a genuinely emotional and affecting story, but they did it with branching paths.
Yeah.
Which is it kind of paved the way for the Game of Thrones ones now, where choices actually did matter. I think a lot of games try and do that, but Telltale really hit the nail on the head of people will remember that, and then way down the line they'll go hey, remember we did that one thing? Well, guess what?
There's consequences. Yeah, and I mean since The Walking Dead was originally announced as Telltale was going to make 3 different games. They were going to make a Fables game, which they did with Wolf Among Us,
very, very good.
and was awesome. This, and then they were supposed to make a King's Quest game as well, which they eventually dropped the rights to, but Sierra's doing it now. But I mean, since The Walking Dead season 1, it's sort of set the framework for Telltale as a studio, and their level of quality has remained consistent since then with Tales from the Borderlands and Wolf Among Us, and then Walking Dead season 2 and Game of Thrones, and now with Minecraft. But when you look back, I mean, I think the sort of the arc that Lee and Clementine had in the first series is, oh my God, the balding baby. That and Journey. That was just a year of me crying.
It seems like it gave a lot of people just confidence because so many bad adaptations happen in games based on other properties. But now it's when Telltale's doing something, everyone's like, oh, cool. Yeah. They're in good hands.
Totally. And it proved episodic can work. Things had tried to do episodic before that, but just sort of floundered and couldn't stay on schedule. I mean, we still don't have a 3rd episode of Half-Life 2. Let's not hold our breath for that one. But it proved that you can release these, $5 episodes that take the time. You play through them in the span of a movie once every month or 2, and it can be commercially and critically successful.